And so does the Muslim community across New Jersey, across the country and around the world.
Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Get away from me!
But what connects these events in the US and Europe to a radical nationalist movement on the other side of the world? This is how far-right Hindu nationalism is fueling violence and sparking fears for the future of Indian democracy, and is now spreading its influence across the world and winning admirers among Western extremists. Last August, the small city of Edison, New Jersey, hosted a parade organized by an Indian-American business association. But what seemed like an innocent community celebration quickly became mired in accusations of Islamophobia, all because of this bulldozer. The chant you can hear in the background there is Jai Shri Ram, which roughly translates to victory to Lord Rama, and has become a battle cry for a new wave of radical Hindu nationalists. The chant was also heard prominently in the UK and in countless acts of violence across India itself. What the average resident of Edison may not have realized is that in India, the bulldozers become a coded symbol for government campaigns to demolish Muslim villages and communities.
आरो को कोई 3 दिन मध्ये भांगे नानीले एन्न वस्तु अनि सब हाम्रो भांगे सिर दिबो एनो गरेर पुरा हुमकी दामकी दे आरो भय दे अंगरे पुलिस आर्मी आइसे.
In the last year, the Hindu nationalist government in Assam state has targeted more than a dozen Muslim villages for eviction.
The bulldozer in New Jersey was decorated with posters of Narendra Modi,
Jai Sri Ram,
India's populist prime minister, whose party, the BJP, advocates a hardline form of Hindu nationalism known as Hindutva that's been accused of inciting deadly violence in India, as well as inflaming the tensions in Leicester and elsewhere.
The parade with bulldozers in New Jersey was shocking.
The language, the rhetoric tells us that there is a growing support for Hindutva ideology within the US.
Hindutva, meaning Hinduness, is distinct from Hinduism, India's majority religion. It's a far-right ideology which holds that India should be an exclusively Hindu state, with other minorities tolerated at best.
हिंदू अलग संस्कृति है, मुस्लिम अलग संस्कृति है, दोनों एक साथ नहीं रह सकती, दो संस्कृतियां कभी एक साथ नहीं रह सकती हैं.
Many of its leaders explicitly advocate violence as the way to achieve this nationalist vision, specifically targeting India's Muslim minority.
हमारी बहनों को पथभ्रष्ट करते हैं और उनको हमारे समाज से अलग करते हैं, तो ऐसे दरिंदों का हम लोग जो है सर फोड़ने का काम करेंगे.
Officially a secular state, India's population is about 80% Hindu, with a Muslim minority of about 14%. This minority has become the prime target for Hindu nationalists who push a conspiracy theory that Muslims are waging a kind of demographic war to eventually gain dominance. Hindutva is spread by a sprawling network of political parties, paramilitary groups and street-level vigilante gangs, which have been linked to lynchings, sexual assault and extreme acts of violence. The most prominent of these groups is probably the RSS.
Do you think that India is a Hindu nation?
Yes. All over the world is suffering from the Muslim attacks, jihadi groups. We did not oppose any community. We did not oppose, but they will follow our rules.
If large groups of armed men marching in uniform and preaching about ethnic purity conjure images of the worst of mid-20th century fascism, that's no accident. The RSS, formed in 1925, and its early leaders explicitly modeled themselves on Hitler and Mussolini, arguing that India should deal with its Muslims the way Nazi Germany did with its Jews.
Hindutva draw from Nazi imagery. So they have that Nazi Hitler image of the family, and in the background you see the swastika, which is also a Hindu symbol of peace that has been mobilized within this discourse. Many people have argued that the RSS is modeled on the SS. The Nazis and the RSS became reviled for a while, but we see a revivalism of that ideology here. Many folks, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, within the current Hindu right-wing movement, come out of that RSS paramilitary training.
Narendra Modi's party, the BJP, is the political wing of the RSS and has dominated India's parliament since he was elected Prime Minister in 2014.
Modi is considered a nationalist. He campaigned as a hardliner on foreign policy and by invoking threats to people's safety.
This has coincided with a massive surge in anti-Muslim violence, and this violence often revolves around cows.
I'm about to meet up with a group of self-fashioned cow protectors.
हिंदू धर्म में गाय को माता का दर्जा दिया गया है। वो मुस्लिम धर्म के लोग हैं जो हमारी आस्था को छेड़ते हैं और हमारी आस्था को छेड़ने वाले के साथ हम लोग बर्दाश्त नहीं करते, इसीलिए उन्हें पकड़ते हैं हम लोग।
The cow is a sacred animal to Hindus, and so-called cow vigilante groups have often carried out attacks, including murder, on Muslims, often based on mere rumors that they may have eaten beef.
When you see someone slaughtering a cow, what do you feel?
अगर आपने ही ये काम कर दिया तो दिल ये करता है कि आपके हाथ काट दूं।
जय गौ माता!
जय गौ माता!
In February 2020, India was rocked by its worst communal bloodshed in decades as riots exploded across the capital, New Delhi.
Often bloody, sometimes fatal, in riots against India's new Citizenship Amendment Act. Legislation, critics say, that discriminates against Muslims.
Horrifying reports emerged of targeted lynchings, with men, women and children being beaten to death, even burned alive. In all, at least 53 people were killed, the majority Muslim. Accusations flew that the government and police had done too little to prevent the violence and may have actively encouraged it amid an ongoing pattern of Hindutva-fueled violence and discrimination against India's Muslim population.
Under the current BJP-led government, there have been numerous extrajudicial killings and torture cases across India. In Uttar Pradesh alone, 5,302 mass violence incidents were reported just in 2021.
But rather than trying to deny their prejudice, many high-profile BJP politicians have been crystal clear in expressing their outright animosity towards Muslims.
We are very keen that this country should remain overwhelmingly Hindu majority country.
This radical brand of nationalism, with its unapologetic Islamophobia, has found an unlikely fan base among the Western far right, which isn't generally known for its embrace of South Asian people. In 2019, a delegation of politicians from European far-right parties, including France's National Rally and Germany's AfD, made an official visit to Kashmir, a major flashpoint in Hindu-Muslim relations. The visit, which sparked protests in Kashmir, was seen as an important show of solidarity between populist anti-Islam movements in Europe and India.
22 out of 27 MPs are affiliated to far-right parties.
Modi's brand of nationalism has also been hailed as a blueprint for the wave of right-wing populist leaders around the world that have followed in his wake, with former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon reportedly describing him as a Trump before Trump.
Prime Minister Modi is doing a truly exceptional job for India and for all of the Indian people.
Critics of the BJP can face violent attacks and harassment from both the Indian